what's happening, everybody? Greatly apologize for the audio problems last video. I was trying out a new mic and different settings, and the settings were totally whacked, and the mic just did not work out. So I'm going to save that mic for the next camera because the original mic works better on this camera, which I'm using now. So today I'm going to be installing the solar system, at least most of it permanently. I probably won't install the battery permanently because I think there's a few more things I need to get for that. But I want to show you guys my entire solar system and how I'm going to install it on the Chevy Express. So first off, though, I want to answer a couple really common questions. One of them is, are you still getting the high top? I did a live chat with Evie yesterday on YouTube, and I've done one on my Facebook, and this question just keeps coming up. So yes, we are still getting the high top, and the reason why we installed the fans first, which we did last video, is because the only windows to open this fan are the very front two, so there's like no airflow in the back, and this thing gets real hot. And it's pretty warm out here today in Oregon. I think it's about 80, might be a little lower. It feels real nice out here, but inside the van with all the windows closed up, it gets really hot. So that's why. Another question is the butt crack thing. I keep getting comments about that. I have a hernia and I can't wear tight pants, so I have to leave my pants like really loose fitting, and if I pull them up it hurts when I bend over. So I'm sorry about that. I'll try to keep the plumber's crack to a minimum, but that is why. I'm not just trying to flash y'all and be a creep in a van. So I think that's that. Let me show you guys what I got real quick. Alright guys, so the heart of a solar system is the battery. We opted for a lithium ion battery. These things are better in every single way to a lead acid battery. They're lighter. You can draw them all the way down to 0, which means that this 100 amp hours is equivalent to like 300 or 400 amp hours of lead acid battery, because those you can only take down 10, 20, 30, you know, maybe 40%, and you're losing voltage the entire time. This thing stays constant voltage, just less amps. So that's awesome. It's super lightweight, and the initial cost is pretty high. It's pretty steep right now. I think in a few years it'll go down. But if you look at it in terms of how many times you can use this, how many times you can discharge this and recharge it and it'll still work, it's way cheaper than lead acid batteries. You're saving money. And it's better on the environment too. So every single way this thing is better. I've heard a few people say, oh, but it's not safe technology. You're walking around with one in your pocket most likely. Has this thing exploded on you? No, it's the same thing. As long as you get a good brand. If you want to learn more about the benefits of lithium ion versus, especially LiPo4, versus lead acid, check out Will Prouse's video. I'll link that in the description. He really lays it out for you. He's very technical minded and seems to know his stuff. So, next part is the solar panel. We got a Renogy 100 watt monocrystalline panel. Another nice thing about using the lithium batteries is we're only using 100 amp hours. And I think that'll be enough. If it's not, we'll have to go to 200. That's okay. But either way, we're only going to need 100 or 200 watts of solar instead of like 500 or 600, you know, for a 500 or 600 watt system to do the same thing. So that's pretty sweet. I've used these Renogy panels before. And by the way, I am not sponsored or endorsed or paid to say any of this. These are just the products that I'm choosing to use after a ton of research and things that I've already used in the past, like the solar panel. I will link everything in the description. They are affiliate links. I will make a small commission. Even if you don't buy these things, you buy something else. But these are things I believe in, and I'll never ever promote something I think is crap. So anyway, monocrystalline is better than polycrystalline because it is more efficient, it is better in low light, and the panels are smaller. It is more expensive, but if you think about it long term, it's a better investment again. So, yeah, use the same panel. It looks like they've upgraded the design a little bit on my Astro, and I've had 0 issues with it. It's worked great. The next part of this is a controller. We opted for an MPPT controller instead of a PWM. There's a little bit of a controversy on if it's worth it to get an MPPT on such a small system like 100 watts. Everything I can figure out, it's more efficient, so we're going to use that. This also has all the features of telling you how many amps you've used and what's your voltage is at, everything. It'll tell you everything on this thing, and you can program it to do all kinds of stuff. So this is awesome. And the panel also came with all the wires and all this mounting hardware, which we're not going to use. We are going to use the mounting screws though, because we got 4 of these guys. These you glue onto the top of your van, so you don't have to drill into the top. So these will work great on fiberglass. And you use this the Sikaflex 252 glue, and this stuff's pretty gnarly stuff. So definitely wear goggles, and you probably want to wear some kind of mask, and don't get this stuff on your skin or clothes. But this stuff is supposed to be ridiculously strong, and I've read other people who have used the same system and have had 0 problems. So we're gonna try it out. No holes in the roof. And to get the wires into the roof, in the past, I've just drilled a hole in the roof and tried to seal it up with some silicone. I've had, excuse me, some leak issues, and that's a big problem. So we're going to use that Sikaflex to glue this guy down, and then put the wires through here, and this is a waterproof connection. So this will be going on the roof, and when we get our high top, we might have to buy new ones. I'm not sure, but at least we won't have any leaks. We'll be able to test this out beforehand and make sure that these are awesome. So stick around for that. Another thing we've got is a fuse panel, and I went with the Deep Blue Sea one here. The design is awesome. The one I used on the Astro is a POS. I hate using it. This thing is vastly superior in every single way. So we'll be using these Deep Blue Sea ones from now on, I think. And other than that, the inverter we got is the cheapest pure sine one we could find on Amazon that had decent reviews. This one's actually got a lot of really good reviews, and it's got all the safety features built in. It's a 1500 watt. We needed that because we got an induction cooktop, and there's some other things we're going to be powering, like a blender and stuff, and we want to be ready for that. So 1500 watts is a lot. And most of the time we won't be using that much. We'll actually be wasting a little bit of electricity because it has to consume electricity to convert it. So the higher the wattage on the inverter, the more it's going to consume. But this one seemed pretty efficient. So I guess we'll get started now. Alright, so before I mount these things on the roof, I'm actually going to hard mount them to the solar panel. So I'm just going to set them in place like that. And then the kit we bought, losing screws, came with these self-tapping screws, which are really good quality. They have an H on it. I don't know what that means, but they feel like they're really hard and really strong. And they have little rubber washers on there, which I guess is cool. I don't know how that would help us. But we're just going to set it like this and use the drill and just drill these guys in and drill them all in. And then once we get up on the roof, we'll glue and screw these on and cut the hole for the wires to come through. I've already fish the wires through this guy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark which wire is the positive wire and which wire is the negative wire. They've got little markers on the actual wires, and I've pre-installed my fuse here, which is this long guy, and I'll do it in such a way that I don't have to remove the panel to change this out in case it gets blown. I don't foresee any problems with the solar panel, but if this thing does short out, this will protect our expensive solar controller and possibly even prevent a fire. So this is good stuff. Alright, so it's definitely a good idea to figure out exactly where you're going to put everything before you start cutting holes and mounting stuff permanently with glue. We're going to put all of the electronic stuff right here, meaning the solar controller, the fuse box, the remote switch for the inverter. The battery is going to be right down here, and so we're going to mount the solar panel right about here. And then the wire is going to come down into here, and then it's going to come down kind of back through here, and all the electronic stuff's going to be right here. So I think I'm going to cut the hole for the wires to come through for the solar controller right about here. Alright, so Evie's kind of taking it easy today. She's got a bit of a headache. So the way I'm going to measure exactly where to put the incoming cables from the solar panel is I'm going to measure from this fan right here. I'm going to give myself a few extra inches because the top of this might be over, you know, a bit. So I'm going to give myself some extra inches and play it totally safe here. I'm going to say 24 inches, which is right in the middle of these two ribs from this fan. And then right over, I'm going to go about right here. so that the cable's not coming in the middle, but it's enough off to the side where it's not so obvious that it's there, you know, from the top, and that I can have a little bit extra cable on the outside to pull it out to unplug it or to change that fuse if I need to. So yeah, about right here. Cool, 45 inches. Okay, so here is the solar panel. Let's see how this guy fits. Oh, it'll fit great the long way. Oh, maybe not, because it's kind of between the ribs. Huh. Let's see how it fits this way. It doesn't. The other thing about these feet is they're flat. They're totally flat, so that might not work so good on a curved high top. Yeah, I think doing it this way is going to be the best way. Maybe we'll put it over. Yeah, placing it like this is definitely going to be the best way. And then I'll end up putting the... my cables go? I thought I put them up here. They must have fallen off the front like the camera the other day. I'm going to put the cables about right here. So, yeah, I'm going to go get the drill and get to drilling. Alright, so there are my holes for the wires for the solar. They're pretty rough, so I'm going to take this rolled up sandpaper and just sand these down. If I was going to keep this roof, I would paint them to prevent rust, and I would also put some rubber grommets in there to prevent this metal from cutting up the solar wires. But I think if I sand these down enough, they will be okay, and it won't be an issue. They're only going to be up here for like a month, and they shouldn't be rattling around too much inside of there. So I think it'll be okay. Worst case scenario, it pops the fuse and I have to get some new wires, but the coating on these is really tough and really thick, so I think it'll be okay. Alright, so these are totally smooth. I don't think this is going to chafe into the wires at all. It's so smooth. I'm going to clean this up with some, probably some acetone or something, and do the same thing under where these white guys are. This roof is ridiculously flexible. I don't like being on top of it. It's kind of sketchy, and I don't know if this method would work on this van for a long time because this thing is so flexible. I mean, even going down the road, every once in a while the roof pops because it moves. I don't know if I'd trust these ceiling fans either because it's just insane. Maybe it's better on maybe it's just this particular example of this van. I don't know, but I don't know what you were thinking, Chevy. This is too thin. The walls are really thin too. But yeah, I'm gonna clean this up and get going on the glue. Alright, so I got everything cleaned up on top of the van. It's just drying now. I ended up using rubbing alcohol. So now I pulled these out to such a length where they would go under the solar panel so that these connectors aren't exposed. They are weather sealed. They have little O-rings on there and everything. I just want to stick them under the solar panel so they're clean and tidy. But it's also enough room where if I need to disconnect them, because if you have that solar panel plugged in, there's a ton of electricity coming through that thing. And if that hot wire touches something metal and it grounds out, you're out of luck unless you got a fuse on there. So, the way I'm going to do this is, and also if you touch it and you're grounded yourself, you can get shocked real bad. So the solar panels can be dangerous. So I'm going to leave this thing unplugged until everything else is ready to go so that electricity is not shooting through, you know what I mean? So I'm going to tighten these up because as you tighten these, the O-ring inside of there gets tighter and you can't pull them anymore. So I'll get them nice and tight, and then I'll feed the wires through the holes, and then I will get to the gluing. Alright guys, so you might have seen in that drone footage, I made a pretty big mistake. That's a pretty simple mistake too. I put the solar panel under the roof vent so the roof vent couldn't close anymore. Luckily the stuff drives pretty slow, so I was able to pull it up and pull it back, as you can see there. It looks pretty clean. Stuff does dry really slow. It was also sliding very slowly down because we were parked at such a crazy incline. So I parked it over here where it's more flat, and it doesn't look like it's moving at all anymore. I pushed it down and kind of went over the sides with my finger to smooth it all out like that. I think it's going to stick just fine. I had to build it up quite a bit in some areas because the platforms are flat and the roof is rounded. I had to do that quite a bit. I think it'll be okay though. I've heard from a lot of other people they've done the exact same thing and it's worked just fine for them. So I guess stay tuned. I'll let you guys know what I think. It's definitely got to dry overnight at least. Luckily it's like 76, 78 or something out here and there's a nice breeze, so I think it'll dry pretty fast. Yeah, I'll let you guys know in upcoming episodes what happens, but I think I'm going to cut this video here. Evie's got a really bad headache, so I'm going to take care of her a little bit. And there's really not that much else we can do until we build the cabinets to install the rest of it. So I don't know what we'll do next episode. I think we'll get started on building the foam cabinets. But thanks for watching. See you next time, and love yourself. Woo!